A few weeks later, Masaba and I were back on the same train going to Gothenburg, and I saw that it was the same conductor, and I said, "Excuse me, you probably don't remember me." She remembered. I said, I just want to apologize. I didn't realize that that had come out, and I was really embarrassed. And she said, "Well, everybody could hear you, but no one wanted to say anything." Because I didn't want to embarrass you. Because what you were doing was really embarrassing. Okay. The other very brief travel story, it happened when I was living in Vermont, upstate Vermont, and I had been to Montreal many, many times, and it's just a straight shot up. And I had a friend living in Toronto, so I decided, well, I'll get in my car, go to Montreal, cross over to the west. But when I got to Montreal, I ended up in the French-Canadian section, which is not called French-Canadian, it's called Quebecois. And this is not your schoolroom French. Okay? The French disown it. It's like they disown Cajun. So I'm driving around, and I finally get off and go to a gas station with my map, and I said, how do I get to Toronto from here? And there were three men, and they were all gesturing and talking their Quebecois or Baltic language or whatever it was. And they drew a little line and said, "Thank you so much," and merci. Got back in my car, and I unfolded the map, and it was a map of Chicago. Okay, so anyway, all that shows you is just how uneducated, how stupid, and the travel was kind of a waste on me. But the third story, which isn't true, but it explains everything. It explains the meaning of life, actually. So if you want to take notes, there are these two young fish swimming in the ocean. Oh, there you go. Okay. And yes, it'll two young fish swimming in the ocean, and they in the other direction is an older fish, and the older fish says, "How's the water, boys?" And the two fish say, "Great." And the two fish swim on. The two young fish look at one another and say, "What the heck is water?" Okay, so there's a couple of wise, educated people. Some of the stuff we imagine, not the real scientific, even though, I mean, some of you are going to cure cancer and win Nobel Prizes. And, why am I not surprised the guy who's going to jail isn't here?
I just picked him up.
Oh, good. The world is now safer. But it's the imagination. I know that was horrible, wasn't it? Well, that's what happens when you don't show up. You get to be talked about. Okay. But it's the imagination, or through the imagination, that we become engaged, and we connect with the information we're hearing and seeing. And it often, because we're engaged with it, it educates us, which means the very best comes out of us. And that's kind of an etymology of education, maybe not the best, but to educate to me means to lead out, come out of the place you're in. So it's a little bit like traveling. And the point of the fish story is that the most obvious realities, the most obvious truths, essential truths, are the ones that are often the hardest to see and talk about. And this is because, one, we are often very arrogant. We feel entitled to whatever our water is. Whatever our water is all around us every day. So I think about it. Two, we don't usually have any kind of critical distance about what we are certain about. We just know this is real. But when you think about the fish story, you realize they didn't have any critical distance, the two fish. And they didn't realize what was around them. And when you think you're certain about something, if you get educated, you'll find out that you were totally wrong. Okay? That what you were so certain about isn't. And having to own up to that means coming out of yourself, engaging with other people, connecting with them. Here's just one example of the total wrongness of something I am automatically sure of. It's all about me. It's all about my experience. My experience is right here, about me, not any of you. And when I remember tonight, I'll remember me. Because he talked about me. So this is what I know. I am the realest and most important person in existence. And if you think about it, there is no experience you've ever had well, think about it, that you're not the center of that story, the center of that experience. Except occasionally when you hear a story about two young fish. Because it's easy for me to see how self-absorbed, how deluded, how entitled and arrogant the two young fish are. And as I'm sure you know, it's extremely difficult to stay alert and attentive. In fact, Jeannie has already said it was really hard. Some of your classes were, after the first 3 minutes, I thought, well, time to go, and it's like only 3 minutes passed. And right now, you're probably thinking about something you want. When are we getting out of here? When is she gonna shit? When can I get on with my life? But the time you finish your formal education and you're working at a job that, some days it's okay, some days it's not okay, when you're having to tell an employee for the umpteenth time, no, you cannot leave early. No, you cannot do this. Yes, we have to do it a certain way. Or you're standing in an excruciating long line to buy your groceries and you're thinking, why didn't she have her card out? Why does she have to dig through her purse? And I've got to get home. And it's all about me being hungry and me needing to get home. And then, of course, there's the traffic jam. And it's all about what is wrong with, why aren't they even out here, these cars? And you don't think, well, maybe somebody had a stroke and their car went off the median. Or maybe when you're standing in that excruciating long line, the woman who can't find her change is in the beginnings of Alzheimer's or dementia. Because they all have their story. And sometimes it's a little more urgent than my story. And that's what traveling around has taught me, especially traveling around in Norway with, the kind of Pimsleur words I sort of understand or know and would never, ever say. I would just say I speak German or something. I Finnish. There are better ways of turning somebody down than nigh. And here's where travel and education can save you from becoming all about yourself, which after a while, after you get your adult job and have your adult family, you're going to find yourself really boring and dead inside. You'll be one of the living dead that Olaf will play on Broadway and you will do the movie of, and somebody will write the book. And anyway, so learning to think really means learning how to exercise some control over what it is you do think. It means not just defaulting to your default settings of what I want and of I want it now. It's about waiting. It's about listening to older fish who've been there before. It's about empathy. It's about compassion. It's about giving. It's about you give and you let other people give. It's very hard for some people. It's not hard for me. I mean, to give me stuff. It's unimaginably hard to do this and to stay conscious and be aware of the lives of others. But there is a cliche. I've been in education all my life, and I hate it, but it's because I think it's just so cliche. But it's so true that education really is the trip of a lifetime. Or your trip is really an education of a lifetime. So this year, this week, you're all going to colleges. Some are taking a little time off, which I think is a great decision too. That takes courage to know that, I'm not quite ready to embark on that path yet. You have made a significant start. So keep reminding yourself over and over, this is water, this is water, just keep swimming. Anyway, thank you.